Hey, good to see each of you here today. I am so excited to talk today about IEW's SSS2B program and what I think about it. So this is just going to be a quick rundown of kind of my pros and cons, just a very few cons. You all already know if you've been here before that I am an IEW fan. I homeschooled for 10 years. I used IEW in my own home. I taught IEW in my classical conversations community when we were part of classical conversations, and I've continued to teach IEW because I just think it's a tremendous curriculum. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in today. So, first of all, let me show you if you're not sure what it looks like. This is IEW SSS 2B. This is one of their middle school curricula, and this is for students who are reading at a 7th through ninth grade level. So the nice thing, which is I don't have this as a pro yet, but I do like that there are ranges, and that you can. The nice thing about that, if you have multiple students and multiple ages, you can kind of have them join or do the same IEW class together. So that is really nice because they have those ranges. It's based on reading levels and not necessarily grade level. So I like that. That's kind of an extra already, an extra pro. So my first pro is the SSS programs, which stands for Structure and Style for Students. They come with video lessons. And let me tell you, I love that. Now, I was introduced to IEW years ago through theme-based writing. And so I am a little partial to theme-based writing just because it's what I started with, and I really do love a lot that IEW offers through their theme-based writing um, options. However, what I would say is that again, I did it through classical conversations, when we would work during the community day through the first part of our lesson and have to go home and finish the lesson. I have 4 kids and they're really close in age. Like the first 3 are like a year apart. And so for me, it was a little bit tricky dividing myself amongst those children when we were doing IEW together. I love the support of the video lessons that come with this particular program because it just gives you support as a parent, and it gives your student support too through the weekly lesson. And I love, of course, Andrew Pudawa. He's pretty funny to me, at least, and my students really, really do enjoy watching those videos, having that extra video support to walk them through the modeling of the lesson. So I really like the video lesson aspect of Structure and Style for Students. So if you're someone who has multiple children, or maybe you just need to be able to push play, be in the room, be near, close by, but multitask just a little bit, maybe need to fold clothes or something like that. Andrew Pudawa is doing the work, and you all can learn together and grow together. The second pro that I always want to point out is that this curriculum has student samples. Now, those student samples are in the form of a PDF download. So if you were to open up the front of the curriculum, you have a blue page, and that blue page gives you access to student samples for every single lesson. There are 24 lessons inside of this program. And what I like about the student samples is if you're new, or even if you're not new, maybe you are an editor or you need someone to edit your students' papers, you can take a look at these student samples and have a baseline for what the finished product could look like. Of course, all students have their own voice and their papers will sound a little bit different, but it's nice to see, okay, what is a finished paper? How should it be formatted? What should it look like? And so I find this really, really nice, especially for those newbies, especially for newbies. One thing I do want to say about the video lessons as well, that's a benefit, is if you are, especially in this age range, if your student is starting to move a little bit more towards independence, the video lessons gives them kind of those training wheels where they can start being a little bit more independent, but they have that support through the video lessons. All right, back to student samples. A couple of other things that are in here that I love is they have the adapted schedule for 30 weeks. So if you want to expand your 24 lessons and and allow it to brush across 30 weeks and kind of take your time across these lessons, it gives you a schedule already. And then the other thing that I like is it has the optional reproducible checklist with points. Now, in the actual guide, your student will have a checklist that does not include points. But if you need to grade your student's work because you need to actually give a grade to your student based on what your requirements are in your state, they have that available for you. They have covered that for you and given you a baseline. So you don't have to, you can feel confident that you're giving your student an appropriate grade. Because I know for me, when I was homeschooling, at the early part of high school, middle school into high school, I was a little nervous about the whole grading process, but IEW takes the guesswork out of it. They give you the checklist, the student knows what to expect, and you know that you are giving them a fair and comparable grade for what they're doing. All right, the third pro for me is that the program is really well laid out. So for every single lesson, all 24, I call it kind of the map for the lesson. There's a page that has goals. So what are the goals for this lesson? So your student can walk through those. There, on that same page, it talks about the schedule breakdown. It's a suggested daily schedule. I'll kind of show you what that looks like real quick. So, and you can actually go on the IEW website and see what this looks like. Now, I have a teacher guide, so this gray section is for you as a teacher or a parent. It gives you extra notes for your student or for the lesson, and your student will get this page. So you do get to see what your students page looks like. Goals are at the top. Then they have a suggested daily breakdown, day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can extend that to 5 days if you want to have a 5-day schedule. The nice thing about this breakdown, a couple of things. It's laid out so well that your student can really build those executive functioning skills. That those skills are just necessary for all people. We're still working on that even as adults sometimes, right? But I love that there's this little checklist. They can check it out or circle it or say or cross it out. I did this for the day. I've watched the video. I've read the source. I've written the keyword outline with the class. I have tested my keyword outline. So they know exactly what to do. And again, if you've been here for a while or if you're new, you may or may not know that I also have students, personal students, my own children. I have two who struggle, and they definitely struggle with executive functioning skills. And I feel like IEW really has that built into the program to assist them. And so, I've been in these IEP 504 waters for a little bit. And so I love that it's that this kind of accommodation is built in to the program for students who need that extra support for executive functioning skills. And then for, you know, all students, it really does allow them to practice those skills. The fourth um, benefit I feel that IEW offers is that it does, if you would like to, it does fold in grammar. So for the SSS2B program, it aligns itself with the Fix It Grammar 4. Actually, let me grab that. I meant to grab that before. So I'll show you what it looks like. Give me a second. All right. And of course, it's going to be at the bottom of the pile, the one that I'm looking for, looking to show you. Yes, it always is. So give me a second. So sorry. All right, here we go. Let me show you 4. Here's 4. And what I like about the grammar program, again, for those of us who are trying to, make sure that we have a full ELA program for our students, you have writing, you have grammar, and then I'll talk about literature suggestions in a second. But what I like about IEW's program is they, with Fix It Grammar, they become the editors of a story. So they get 4 sentences per week. Each week or each sentence has a vocabulary word that they look up. They have different items that they mark, and different items that they fix. What I enjoy is that a lot of what they are being exposed to in Fix It Grammar will reinforce what they're learning on the writing side of the house. So I'm going to show you kind of a page towards the beginning, one of those pages that you'll get access to. Anyway, if you download the free lessons, and inside of the show notes, I did put the free lessons for you, or a link to the free lessons. So, for example, this is an example of week 3. This would be a page that you would have access to even through IEW if you download the free lessons. They have it starts with Learn It. Let me just show you that, because it's broken down into a couple of sections. You have Learn It, where they are focusing on a certain concept. So this week, they're talking about conjunctions, commas with prepositional openers, phrasal verbs, usage with pronoun agreement. So, I mean, it is in-depth grammar. Let me tell you, your students will be very, very prepared to edit their own work, maybe edit other people's work, and they'll definitely be prepared if they are moving on to college writing or any other kind of academic writing beyond high school. They will be so prepared. So after we go over the kind of the Learn It section, or that part is presented, then we have the Read It. They read the sentence. Then they find or look up the definition. Like for example, this week, apprehension is the definition or the vocabulary word for that particular day. And then there are things they need to mark. The nice thing about the Mark It section is, again, we talked about helping our students become a little bit more independent. This is a new thing for the new Fix It Grammar. So if you're buying the old version, this is not part of the old version. It has a checklist of all the things that they need to mark. So there are 3 articles, there are 6 nouns, there's 1 pronoun, 2 coordinating conjunctions, 2 prepositional phrases, 2 main clauses, 2 subject verb pairs, 2 openers. And then after that, they have things that they are supposed to fix, okay, for this writer. This writer has 4 places where they should have had a capital letters and they didn't. What's this? 3 commas are missing. There's 1 end mark that's missing. There is 1 number and 1 usage error, and your students have to find that. So it is thorough. The nice thing too is if they're doing Fix It Grammar along with the writing program, it gives you a common language to discuss things that you might see in their paper. So for example, if you already know they understand prepositional phrases or openers or commas, with those prepositional phrases, and they miss adding a comma to their prepositional opener that requires one, you can say, oh, remember how we learned this in Fix It Grammar? Make sure in your writing that you add the comma after this particular prepositional phrase. So anyhow, that is definitely a pro. I would say my 5th pro, this is my second to last one, are the literature suggestions that come with SSS2B. So if you are someone, I know for me, like the less thinking I could do, the better, meaning, can I kill 2, 3, 4 birds with 1 stone? I don't like that saying though. I mean, I don't want to kill the birds. Anyway, random rabbit hole thought. But with the scope and sequence, which you can also find at the link that I have in the show notes, if you want to explore the curriculum, you can get a sample. But the scope and sequence includes literature suggestions. Now, these I clearly can't go down the straight line here. These literature suggestions are suggestions, so you don't have to incorporate them. But if you're someone who, again, you want to make sure that this is a full ELA opportunity for your student this year, you can simply fold in and incorporate these literature suggestions. So, for example, follow the drinking gourd, In the Year of the Boar and Jackie Robinson, The Story of Dr. Doolittle, The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963, Penrod, Peter Pan. And actually, I really like the last one that they suggest, The Captain's Dog, My Journey with the Lewis and Clark Tribe. The dog is actually telling the story. So I love that really gives your student an opportunity to explore the idea of point of view. When we have read about Lewis and Clark before, I know it's from the narrator who's a human, but that's really kind of a neat book and a neat angle. All right, the last thing that I want to say that I love about probably my favorite, I have a couple of favorite lessons that they include, but one of my favorite lessons is that they are being introduced in this level to what's called a super essay. Up to this point, most of the essays have been 5 paragraph essays, but we all know, particularly if you're going into some higher academic writing, the 5 paragraph essay is not where we're going to end. We need to know how to expand that. So they get a chance to learn how to expand that 5 paragraph essay concept in Unit 8 to a 12 paragraph essay. It's done over multiple weeks. So don't let that scare you away. And if you're a student watching this, if you're listening to this over the shoulder of your parent, don't say, oh my gosh, no. Trust me, it's a really nice, gentle introduction. And they IEW walk you through very well. They walk you through how to do that step by step, week by week. It's really it's not too bad. You can ask one of my old students. They will tell you it really was not painful. All right, let's talk about some of the things that are cons or just things that I wish would have been incorporated in structure and style for students. And there are things that are there what I have enjoyed from the theme-based writing that are just not involved in the structure and style for students. There are no student guided notes, like the physical guided notes. There are a few things that they do have that I do like. So let me show you one thing. For example, when your student is, they have the posters. So they have the posters inside. That's really nice. That's a nice guide. Obviously, they have the checklist. I wanted to show you a lot of times when they are writing down different, here's what I want to show you. For example, when he is on the screen and he's talking about kind of the like the banned word list, like adjectives, they do have this guided note. So it's not I shouldn't say there are no guided notes, but what I mean specifically, let me give you an example of what I mean, or compared to a theme-based writing example. For now, I'm just going to use fables, myths, and fairy tales. I like that in the theme-based writing, they have what's called style practice pages. And next time, I'll just be more specific. No style practice pages. That's a huge benefit for me, and it was a huge benefit for my students. Again, I have students who struggled. So here they are introducing the strong verb dress up that IEW mentions, and then they allow them to practice adding synonyms for that strong verb. Yes, they have that kind of list in the structure and style for students, but I love that they make them do this for every lesson. And then it allows those students to add some of those practice ideas to their final paper. Like here's a whole practice page for strong verbs with sample sentences that the student would need to add a strong verb to. This is an ly adverb dress up with sample sentences. Now, again, on the video lesson, he does model that on the screen, but I like that the style practice pages are inside in page format and theme-based writing. So I wish that was there. No huge deal, just something that is a preference for me. No vocabulary cards. Now, in the video lessons, the vocabulary words are going to pop on the screen, but the vocabulary cards are not included like they are in some of the theme-based writing lessons. And I will, again, let me show you an example. I didn't pull my pages out, but your students, say in theme-based writing, I love that they have these visual cards for students in the back of their theme-based writing books. So kind of a workaround is to use the index cards. You can have your students write their vocabulary words on index cards. That's really nice because they can still use them like a kind of like those vocabulary cards to practice those vocabulary words every week. I like that. I just thought it's, again, a personal preference, and it would have been nice to have that in SSS. And so those are the things that I would say are cons, not big deals at all. So if you have any questions, let me know. And also, I forgot to say, If you're not familiar with who I am, my name is Mrs. Brown, and for elementary through high school, I teach writing and grammar classes that lay a foundation for a lifetime of excellent writing. And I primarily use IEW to do that. So if you want to be notified when I upload any videos, make sure that you like or subscribe. If you have 2B in your in your shopping cart, you've been thinking about it. Hopefully, this video will help you make a decision. IEW is it's a great program. I can't say, you know, um, more wonderful things about them. If you want help with this and you want to have your student on a writing team and you want to be a part of a group of parents as well, where we do this together, I do have some space in my classes and you can find me at homeschoolclick.com. Last but not least, I host a book club every single month. Well, not every single month. We take a break in November and December for the holiday, but this month in August, we're going to be reading Raising Critical Thinkers by Julie Bogart. If you want to join that, it's free. You just get together at the end of the month, you get the book, read the book, and then we discuss it at the end of the month. And this month it will be on Sunday, August 28th at 7:30 p.m. Also, make sure that at the after you watch this video, in the show notes, IEW does allow you to have access to the first 3 weeks of their SSS2B program. So you can go, or their SSS programs. There's a link. It's www.iw.com/Mrs. Brown. Go and check out the first 3 weeks of their program so you can see, does this fit for you? Is this a good fit? Does it work for you? And you will get access to the first, I think, 3 weeks of Fix It grammar levels as well. So you can check that out for your student. All right. If you don't have any questions, then I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to go post another video tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll be live and it will be reviewing SSS1B. That is for students who read at a 6th through 8th grade level. And I will see you at that live stream. All right. Take good care. Don't forget to like or subscribe if you want to be notified when I post new videos. Have a great day.